Andor. Man, this show is the bomb. I'll tell you that. Episode 5. We're going to talk about it. We're going to spoil it. So get ready for it. But not just that. There's a new poster, Tales of the Jedi. I'm going to show that, talk about that. James Earl Jones will forever be the voice of Darth Vader. That was also announced. Big news. He signed his rights over for the voice for the remainder of time. So the Sith Council crew will talk about that and more on this show. Now listen, I want to let you guys know a few different things. First of all, if you haven't already subscribed to the Sith Council show, it's on the Big Thing feed. You can go to Spotify, follow us over there. Apple Podcasts, man. Download the episodes. It helps us get great sponsors, helps us stay on the air, and you guys have been doing that, and I thank you for that so much. If you haven't joined Patreon, please join Patreon. We have so many great things going over there, whether it's the Andor full reviews, I do the reactions, and the full reactions are up there. We have a full reaction for the Munsters that we did. That was brutal to watch, but it's up there, so you guys can watch that. We have live Q&As. We have we're doing trivia matches for once a month. PLD's running those. Old Schmoes content. There's so much. So go find a tier that's right for you. Head on over there and do it. And I also want to, this is for Amazon, by the way. I wanted to let you guys know that there was one particular thing that was bought. By the way, that we were almost done. The list is pretty much done. So thank you for everybody who has contributed. But there was one thing that was ordered that we never received, and we can't track it. And I want to make sure that if you did order it, that you can track it, because it never came to us, and I didn't want you to spend your money, and then it was like, oh, it never came. So here it is. This is and it was expensive, man. So first of all, thank you for purchasing it. But the wireless microphone system for the smartphones, this was ordered, and it said it was delivered. It was not. So if you ordered this, please double check and get your money back, because it never came. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about here today. It is myself. It is Steph Sabra. It is Mike Kalinowski. It's the Sith Council, man. We're excited. It's going to be a good show today. I can feel it. I can feel it in my blood. We're going to talk about the show. We're going to see how we feel about it. Let's do it.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus, makes you stronger.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Sith Council show. I got the whole crew, man.
Hey!
Steph Sabra.
Hey! Oh my God!
Are you doing a Geek Buddies? So isn't that their shtick?
Oh!
Yeah, that's I was close.
I thought that was a Robert De Niro oh! But it's not.
That's a Sopranos thing. Oh,
is it?
Yeah,
no,
but it's a rendition of it. So I like that.
No, it's originally from Raging Bull.
Okay,
you tell me if I don't lose 50 pounds, I'm gonna lose $100. Yeah. Oh!
Yeah, it's any house I ever ate.
That's what I'm saying. It's an Italian. It's any Italian's house growing up. I didn't know there's any Italians on that panel, but okay.
They're buddies. Hey, bring your buddy.
The buddies.
Your buddy.
I was imitating Steez there.
We got stuff to talk about. A lot to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
We got a lot to talk about, and I'm going to start right away with this story. James Earl Jones, man, 91 years old, I believe, said he's officially retired doing the voice of Darth Vader, but he signed his rights over that his voice will forever live on, using that technology that they used in Obi-Wan, that they used in Mandalorian for Luke Skywalker. This was announced. And now here are my thoughts, and then I want to get your thoughts. So we had been talking about this when Mike and I were doing this, for the first episode we ever did. I think we brought this up. I love James Earl Jones. It was just becoming very noticeable at 91 years old. I sound significantly different at my age than I did when I was 17 years old, right? Your voice changes throughout the years. When you're 91, you don't sound like you did when you were 40 years old, and it was noticeable. It's not noticeable in the difference between New Hope and then Obi-Wan. It sounded like old school Vader, and I said, well, wait a minute. If they're not going to recast it that way, because I don't like the Luke Skywalker version of it. It sounds too robotic. Vader's supposed to sound robotic. So it works for me. I like it. I think it's a great way to pay respect and honor to James Earl Jones. I love that they did this. I think it's exciting. I think that we'll always hear that Vader that was always so terrifying. But I know that not everybody's on the same page. I don't know, Steph, where do you land?
So a lot of people think that they should just recast someone.
No. I mean, when I say that when it comes to like the deep fake technology, replacing people's images and things. I think most people are on board with this. I just think because like technology in general can do crazy things.
Yeah. I'm totally. It's his voice. He's Darth Vader, and I hope he gets like a check for his generations behind him.
Yeah, for sure.
For his whole estate. It makes sense. I feel like that's a great way to honor one of the if not the best villain of all time.
Jimmy Chicks?
I can talk now.
Look, you took your time. Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's funny you say this because just the other day I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, an actor friend of mine, on where are we going to draw the line. We were talking about, and then the Bruce Willis thing had happened.
Right.
But it's like...
Which, for people who don't know, Bruce Willis signed his rights off to basically use his image for deepfake technology forever because of his illness.
I remember when it first came out, it was all the Luke stuff, and then there was the guy that does Tom Cruise.
Right.
And it's just like, it's dangerous technology. Incredibly dangerous, where you can imitate a person completely like that. But also...
Even if you sign the rights?
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, where's the line? I think this is going to be a legal battle forever because if you're signing the rights away, you created that character. You want your kids to have a good life, to pay for their life, and your voice can do that for in perpetuity. Yeah. What's to say? But then what do you do when they take your likeness and let's say the James Earl Jones is very specific because it's one character that he's known for. But like when you got an actor's image, okay, well, what if you start making him do stuff that actor wouldn't do? And he would have approved
on the contract.
I know. That's what I'm saying. The legal, I told my friend, it's like, you and I, this guy's and I talking, we got to go to law school right now and be the first lawyers for deep fake technology and get in on the ground floor with all these actors because...
Got news for you. I don't think you guys would be the first at this point.
I think we would be.
At this point?
At this point,
well, they already did send with Bruce Willis.
I don't trust them.
Oh, okay.
Because they're shady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shady.
Fair.
Yeah.
You know them well?
Of course.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
You know everybody. But, yeah, look, I get what you're saying, but I think that comes down to contract, right? It comes down to the idea of, well, what can they do? What can they say? And within the context of the character.
But we talked about this. But then what happens if, let's say you're contracted with this studio with this and this and this, and then something like Disney happens and they buy you out? And now Disney has it, and Zaslav, whatever he had when he took over,
probably have
and
a
he's like,
transfer clause.
but I'm like, shoot, you're that's right, you got the lawyer in the family, you do.
law.
But I'm just saying, the legal thing is astounding to me of what this is. Yeah, it's. But the James Earl Jones is specific Vader. This
is perfect, and I like it.
I think it's well done.
But and look, this technology, like deepfake, will grow and get better and better and better. Just like CGI from 10 years ago is significantly better today than it was 10 years ago, right? So because I think that I would much rather them for Luke Skywalker. I would much rather them use an actor that sounds like him because the robotic stuff.
Are you talking about back in
Mandalorian and
Boba?
Yeah, in the Boba one when he's talking to Boba and he's having that conversation with Grogu, it's like. There was no emotion behind it. Like, and
it sounded like a computer that would say the words to talk about what you're doing.
That's okay for Vader.
Yeah,
it works for Vader.
Yeah,
and I think that as the technology grows, they'll be able, which goes to that scary limit. They will start to be able to do emotion and do all these things, and I think that that's what's it'll evolve. But for James Earl Jones as Vader, like I was really impressed with how it sounded, and it was one of my favorite things. And we have our criticisms on Obi-Wan. But that was one of the best things that they did. When he started talking in that scene, I'm like, whoa! Remember, we were like, wow, that's Vader.
Yeah,
that's New Hope Vader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did such a good job with him in general. Like when they blended Anakin in his voice. Yeah, that was my favorite. It was so well done.
It was really well done. So so we know now, James Earl Jones will be returning. Not John Paul Jones, James Earl Jones.
John Paul Jones. Yeah.
Now this is another story. Kristian Bale was asked recently if he would want to join Star Wars. He's doing, if I was him and I was doing press on this Amsterdam, that's all I would talk about is Star Wars. I'll tell you that.
Oh, no.
I didn't like
I heard
Amsterdam.
such mixed things on
it's
that,
just
too.
not great.
Okay.
Anyway, so they talk about, they asked him, they said, hey, listen, you want to be in this Star Wars thing? And he said, yeah, he wants to be in it. I would bring up the actual article. But he
talks about how
I would way prefer that rundown than a real article.
I can't navigate Star Wars Newsnet anymore. It's like it just goes to Andor, and I used to be able to navigate the site so well, and it's just.
Or maybe you're just getting old and.
No, you go to Star Wars
fat
Newsnet.
Fingers of yours, you're like, I don't know what my fingers are doing.
Where's the news tab? I can't find it.
Under films or series.
Latest news.
Latest news. There's the latest news tab.
All right, I'm trying to find it here, Mike.
All right.
But
I know what he said. He said,
"Go ahead."
Of course, I'd love to join Star Wars. I still got my action figures." That was his quote.
Oh, that was?
That was his quote.
Damn.
All right, we're gonna see.
That would be such a gift for all of us Star Wars nerds.
Yeah, because I think that people started like tweeting me out about Christian Bale and
Now click on that, and then scroll down, and there's the look at that, the news story.
All I ever wanted
Mike chair
in
drop.
Star Wars was to be in a Star Wars outfit and hit my head on a door or something as I walked through. There was nothing that Mike said so far that was true. The real nerds who watched Star Wars way too many times always knew about that one scene where the stormtrooper hits his head on the door as he comes through. I wanted to be that guy. That was it. But look, if I'm fortunate enough to be in more than, then what a delight that would be. I've still got the figures. There you go.
There you go.
That's like a snippet of this whole interview. Well, from when I was little. I also know Kathy Kennedy very well because she was working with Spielberg when I did Empire of the Sun, and now she runs the Star Wars universe. Okay. Look, for me, and this is where someone wrote that, and it just becomes repetitive for me, and I get it, but I would like to see him in those Old Republic type of stories, right? Like where I think it would be good to see. He could play Sith. He could play wise Jedi.
Yeah.
He could do all of it, and I'd like to see him as that kind of old. I mean, he could play Revan. You know, like there's so much that he could do, and I'd love to see it. If I'm Kathleen Kennedy and I see this article, I go after him and try to lock it down. He could play Darth Bane. I mean, Bane's bigger, but I don't think anybody's going to complain if
Bigger as in height wise.
Yeah, Bane's supposed to be like 6'3", 6'4".
Okay.
He's supposed to be a pretty big guy, but that's in the books. You can change that up.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's to the hardcore Star Wars nerd that read the books. They'd be like,
People
wait a
would be
minute.
upset. Yeah.
Some people would be. I mean, I would be like, But if someone said to me, all right, you got a chance to get Christian Bale in this. Yeah. He's going to play Bane, but the trade-off is he's not going to be 6'4". He's going to be more like 5'11", 6 feet. Would you care? No.
No.
You get Bale.
Just shoot him like you do, what's the Top Gun guy?
Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise.
The Top Gun guy? The Top Gun guy? God damn it, Steve.
One thing, if you said like Miles Teller or Danny
Glenn Powell, maybe
Powell or something.
the guy on the rise.
Hey,
But Top Gun guy?
Christian said it's gonna be a good day.
I'm literally
It
going
is.
through the Rolodex in my head. Is like, does she mean the girl's co-pilot? Like, what was his name? He was in.
Did I say Maverick though?
No.
Oh, you said
the Top Gun guy.
Yeah, there's
The
one
Top
Top Gun guy.
Gun guy. God damn it.
Brett's on the couch trying to hold it in. You can let it go, buddy. Losing his mind on the couch. That was great.
I can't even help you out with the name because you're so off on the.
Tom Cruise. Okay, so I don't even remember my point.
You said, is that the Top Gun?
They shoot him like Tom Cruise because
Yeah.
Tom
Oh,
Cruise
yeah,
is
yeah.
5'7". Yes. You had a great point. You had a great point. Look at her. You're going to mess up your makeup, Steez.
Where's that come from, by the way? Steez. What is that?
That's her nickname,
No,
right?
I
I
didn't
don't
know.
know. People in college started calling me that.
Okay,
on my
because
team.
I didn't. Because I just there's this one guy that always comments Team Steez all the way, and I just put two and two
Lloyd.
together. Yeah, I just put two and two
Yeah.
together. That was you.
Yeah, they started calling me that in college, and it's my favorite nickname.
I
so
love
took
it. It
There
just
you go.
fits you.
It does.
It's just awesome. I kind of like it because it's like Steez.
Steez nuts.
There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
That's
my
it.
big nut.
You're on fire today, kid. I gotta tell you.
The Top Gun guy.
Top Gun guy. That was my favorite. That was my favorite. That was really good. That was really good. Okay. All right. Who's that Celebrity Apprentice guy that was the president? Does anybody know? Oh, who knows? All right. Let's move on. All
Moving
right.
on, shall we?
All right. Moving on. So we got Bale, everybody agrees. Bale on Star Wars would be amazing.
I just think he'd be really good in the Empire.
I mean,
He's got that British in him.
Anything.
He would. He'd be good, but he'd be good anywhere.
I know
That's the
that.
point. Well, I don't think that we would complain if he was cast anywhere. Some people are like, well, what about Thrawn? Nah. I mean, would you
Nah.
complain about
Nah.
it? Would you complain about it?
No.
No.
But absolutely, he'd crush as Thrawn. I wouldn't want to see it, but I would love to see it at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not my first choice.
Right.
I picture him as like a Obi-Wan type Jedi with the hood up and everything too. But then you could say, well, I
Do
picture
ya?
him as. But that's my
Yeah,
point.
like Qui-Gon.
What can you not picture him as? He's like, I can picture him as
He's
an
versatile.
Imperial. I can picture him as a Sith. I can, I don't want to see. I thought that they wasted, not that wasted because they could still use him, but Tom Hardy and Daniel Craig in the Stormtrooper outfit. It was fun, but it's like,
But I'll tell
I
you
don't
this:
want that.
there's, and I've noticed this with all the casting, especially on this show with Andor. there's something about the casting of a Star Wars film that oh God, I should have a better way to explain my point with this. There's something about the actor's face that is Star Wars. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
I know what you mean.
Like Tom Hardy to me and Daniel Craig don't have it as much as Bale has it.
I get what you're saying, but again, I think it also just depends on how they're cast and what they're cast in. There are times when you can get cast in a role and you're like, well, that doesn't really fit.
I'm gonna get torn apart for saying that, but I'm just like,
I don't know.
There's just like Tom Cruise, not in Star Wars. You just couldn't have Tom Cruise.
Is that the Top Gun guy?
That's Top Gun.
Yeah, okay.
Couldn't have him in Star Wars. You just couldn't.
You couldn't have him as like an X-Wing pilot.
No.
An alien or something.
As an alien, sure.
Right.
Absolutely. Like Daniel Craig and Tom Hardy as stormtroopers, yes. Bale loses himself in roles, to say, but like there's
But I
just
think Hardy could lose himself.
a timeless quality about certain actors, and other actors have a much more modern look about them.
Sure, but look, there's also star
It's such a
power
weird-
also, right? You look at, I remember when originally Leonardo DiCaprio was supposed to be Anakin, and
But back then, sure, he's not the Leo of today.
he was still that was still Titanic.
Yeah, heartthrob.
Leo.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that would have been hard to detach, but he probably still would have done a fantastic role. Because for Leonardo DiCaprio, I didn't come around on Leonardo DiCaprio until around like The Departed age. Like I always thought he was too screamy and whiny a lot of the times, and now he's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I like the older DiCaprio.
Yeah, for sure. All right, anyway, listen, let's move on.
All right, let's move
because
on.
we have a couple other things to do before we get into the Andor thing. So that's Bale. Bale is, I'd love to see him. I don't think there's anybody, a lot of people who have no problems with him joining. All right, so here's this Tales of the Jedi thing. I'm really excited for this, and I'll probably be doing reactions to these episodes, and we'll be talking. Thank you so much. I'm glad I got your endorsement on it. Star Wars Animation is coming back this month with the release of the animated anthology series Star Wars Tale of the Jedi. It's a compilation of 6 animated shorts that will following the training of a young Ahsoka Tano from her literal birth to her first steps in the Jedi Order and the corruption of Count Dooku. As we entered the final 3 weeks before its release, Lucasfilm and Disney Plus have revealed a brand new poster, and you're looking at it right now. The trailer for the series, which was first shown at Star Wars Celebration back in May, made its debut online during Lucas's film at D23. You can check it out if you want. Ashley Eckstein is back. Comes on October 26th, the same day that Andor Episode 8 releases. So you're going to get a lot of Star Wars that day. I'm really looking forward to this series. Go ahead, Mike. What do you got?
May I say something?
Well, you just said you were going to open your mouth, so I said, go ahead, Mike. That's what I said. That's why I said that.
I wasn't stepping on top of you.
No, I know, but I said, go ahead, Mike.
Why is this show not getting more hype?
Andor's that right now. That's why.
It's so. I think it's the animation thing. It's the fact it's animation. It's kind of like What If, Bad Batch. It's like, it's animation. But I'm like, that looked awesome.
It does.
That poster, because again, I'm trying to stay away from watching trailers because I want, when I watch, to kind of go, like, that was.
Have you seen the trailer yet?
No, I don't want to.
You haven't?
I don't watch
Okay,
it.
okay, okay.
No,
So good.
I knew. Remember, this is the stuff that dropped at Celebration,
And
but
D23.
not at D23.
Yeah.
Not at Celebration.
It was shown at
announced.
Celebration.
Yeah, that's when it was
No,
like-
they showed the trailer at
They
Celebration.
said young
Yeah.
Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Someone's like, "Oh, baby Ahsoka, I'm in." Like in Qui-Gon.
Baby Ahsoka.
What
And then
happened
seeing
was-
that looked like Dooku in there, a young Dooku on that poster.
Yeah, he's in the
They
trailer.
double booked.
So they double booked, but they made it live. The same time they showed it at D23, they released it to the public.
D23,
Yeah, Celebration. It was still just for the
That's when
Celebration
I saw
panel.
when it was
Yes.
D23.
It's just because, like, I don't know. I just think with the Star Wars crowd, they'd be much more into it. I mean, maybe that small, I don't say small, but that microcosm of Star Wars in the grand scheme of the
For the
internet.
hardcore.
Right,
fans,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that looks awesome.
The trailer looked awesome. So you'll be.
Why don't they
you'll
push
have
that
to know.
more?
Well, I think they're going to as you get closer to it too, because I think that the marketing budget will be significantly higher for the live action shows, as they should be.
Yeah.
And I think you'll start getting a heavier push like you are right now with that poster
Right.
and other things as it gets closer to the release date, and the more people will be talking about it. And I think actually this is normally I'll be like, why are they releasing it the same day as like the finale? I actually think that's going to benefit them for exactly what you're saying. I think because there's not going to be a lot of hype around it because it's animated. If you're watching Andor and it's the finale and you go, oh, and there's another Star Wars thing that just debuted here. It's got Ahsoka, it's got Dooku. I'll check it out. And I think if they double book on that same day, I think that actually makes a lot of sense. I normally don't like when they, like for Bad Batch, I'm glad that they pushed it until like January. I think it would have kind of buried itself, but I think this is a smart thing. This is an anthology series. It's a limited amount of episodes.
Yeah.
I'm more hyped. I'm way more hyped about this series than I am Bad Batch 2. How do you feel about it, Steph?
Yeah, I am too. I'm excited for Bad Batch 2, but it does, from the trailer, it looks again like an Adventure of the Week show.
Mm-hmm.
And this looks like more of a story. We're going to get the story of Dooku and Ahsoka, which are two incredible characters.
And good Dooku, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen good Dooku before. We've seen, and since it seems like they said they're going to show the corruption of Dooku, and that's pretty great as well. Because there was, I can't remember what novel it is, but there's some novel, and it might have been, the one with Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos. I can't remember, but I think that there's like a scene where they show young Dooku, like in a flashback. I can't remember. But either way, we're definitely gonna see him. You see him in the trailer. So, trailer's great. I'm excited for it, and you can bet I'll be watching that. And if you like betting, how about MyBookie? You like MyBookie? Well, you should, because if you're betting on, are you betting on the football? Who's betting on football? Now, if you're betting on football, ladies and gentlemen, you can do it through MyBookie. And MyBookie is such a great app. And we've been using it for a while over here, and they've been with us for a little bit, and they keep coming back because you guys keep using them. And that's exactly what you want to do. Because if you're pretty good at betting football, and you know football, and you pick winners all the time, why not get paid for it? Do it at MyBookie. You can bet single game spreads, money line, parlay multiple together, or increase your payouts. There's a low contest entry fee and over $500,000 to be won. Make it so you don't have to be a pro gambler to have fun. Getting started is very easy. Here's what you do. I'll put this in the description, and you got the iCard right there. You visit mybookie.ag, but use that promo code BIGTHING on your first deposit, and you secure a double deposit bonus. You use that code BIGTHING and get your first deposit matched dollar for dollar all the way up to $1,000. MyBookie is a proven sportsbook that makes it simple to bet and to win. So make this your winning season exclusively at MyBookie. I mean, I've getting a couple messages from people, and they said, "Look, I was going to bet on the game. I put down. I used Big Thing. I was going to bet $200. I got $400, and I won. Look at that. It's a good deal. Look at that. Hey. Oh. So let's. I don't want to get gimmick infringement here. So let's get to Andor, man.
Let's get to it, man.
Now, I want to talk about some Andor.
All right.
This show.
I gotta.
Yes, go ahead.
I gotta say, I'm not stepping over you there, but I gotta say, you and I both.
You love this episode.
Oh, we haven't even heard
we haven't talked about last
your
week.
opinion.
I know.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I watched them both last night together,
Okay,
back to back.
Okay.
This show, if you would have told me, and I know we're on the same page with this, a year ago when they announced that slate, and I was like, okay, it's going to be a spy thing. And spy thing is my thing. Like Mission Impossible, Bond,
Sign me up.
Bourne. Sign me up for that. Covert, people talking in a room, occasional action stuff. But, like, never in a million years would I have thought that this is going to be the show. Like, this show, it's people sitting around talking. Like, and I said it last night. Still 5 episodes. No lightsaber, no Jedi, no Sith. Not of May the Force be with you. Still. And it's still Star Wars. 100% Star Wars.
Easily.
100% Star Wars. If you took that TIE fighter out of there,
Still Star
still
Wars.
Star Wars.
So,
And like, we talked about this, like, how I would have thought Obi-Wan
that tone.
compared to this. Like, Obi-Wan is like, this is going to be the greatest thing since Empire Strikes Back. It absolutely is.
This is the best written show, hands down.
Hands down.
Hands
I
down.
think it's the best show.
Mando
written
is
show on television
just
right now.
fun as hell.
You think it's the best written show on television?
on television.
On television?
right now.
I'll give it House of Dragons still.
How? You're saying currently or in?
Currently.
She's saying right now on television.
Wow.
I'm saying tit for tat. Like
Tit for tat?
Tit for tat. If you want to take the dialogue in this
You
episode,
stop slamming on that gate, you lunatic. Stop. There's not even a
Tit for
gate. It's a
tat.
desk.
for tat.
have you never heard of that?
Of course I've heard of
He's
that.
6 years old.
Tit
Give
for
him a break.
tatas. I think that the dialogue in this episode blew me away.
Yes.
It's unbelievable. I was writing down quotes because it was inspiring me.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm gonna join the rebellion. I'm already a part of it. But I think House of the Dragon is excellent. It's a must watch. It's the must watch show of the season. But in terms of just writing, I think this show's better.
So and that's fair. I'm House of the Dragon's still my number one because of just
You're a Game of
it's
Thrones
longer.
guy.
I mean, I'm more
You're
of a Star Wars
I
guy.
know that, yeah.
But,
It has you on the edge of your seat. You're like,
there's something, and I would have never imagined the way that I can't miss Andor, but I can't miss House of the Dragon, and I'm so invested in the way that they have put together characters. However, I will say the same thing about Andor. What they did in this episode, and I haven't looked, like I said, we're recording this. We're going to release this later. I put my spoiler review out. We're going to my reaction will come out. I haven't looked at it in the comments yet. My guess was that some people are going to be saying, "Oh, what a slow episode this was. There was nothing happening." And if you say that, and I said this, and I say it with respect, I don't think this show is for you anymore. I think you should bail on it, because if you thought that this show had nothing happening, it's not the show for you. This show had so much happening. Yeah. There was so much going on, and it developed so much because it just proved the fact of how these 3-episode arcs are working. 1 and 2 are build up, build up, build up. 3 hit you and catapulted you into the mission for 4. 4 and 5 are these build up, build up, build up. 6 seems to be the big adventure that we're gonna the heist and all that, and then boom, it's gonna catapult you into episode 7.
And I noticed it. 4 and 5 are the same director, and so the first 3 and now these 3, I think they're going to 3 arcs.
Sets.
But like, so I missed that episode 4 with you guys, but that just the scene of the 2 of them in the ship talking,
Phenomenal.
Like, and then because I saw all the memes and everything about Lucian with the wig and he's standing there. It's like I wasn't sure what was going on. I thought seeing that stuff. Oh, it's a flashback to him earlier. I was like, oh no, that's classic spy stuff.
And it wasn't too goofy. And it was like he put on a wig, and it's like that's.
But they
legit looks like it's not. Oh, he doesn't have like some silly suit on. He just has a wig on. And I love the moment at the end. We can jump around a little bit, right? The moment at the end where he's just, and I've been in the moment where I'm working at night, and my wife's like, "There's nothing you can do about it. Just go to sleep. Like whatever happens in the morning, it'll happen in the morning. Go to bed." And he's like, "But I have this worry of this, the thief, Andor." She's like, "Go to sleep. It's in motion. Go to bed." And that's what this whole episode was. It was in motion.
Yes, yeah, completely. And it like every plot I'm invested in. The B like when we have the XIS or the guy
sitting eating cereal with his mom.
Yeah. Oh my god, this mom is the most annoying. Like,
hey, I'm gonna call you uncle.
Yeah.
He's gonna know what's right. He's gonna know it's gonna eat your cereal and then clean up your room. Here's some more food.
Like Jabba gang affiliated? You think the uncle's like in? I don't know. It just feels like they're connected in a deeper
Harlow?
way. Yeah.
Maybe some Harloff minor.
It just seems like every overbearing mother.
Yeah, I was like, I can't tell if she's a Jewish or Catholic.
That's
mom.
what I think. Oh, she's
from
Jewish.
Brooklyn.
One or the Jewish mom from Brooklyn.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay,
She pushes the bowl of food at the end to him.
After you're done with your cereal, I'll make you a good sauce.
Like any civilized person knows that an open invite's not an invite.
Yeah,
Like, oh
yeah.
But those
I had a
moments are so
room,
good.
Mom.
This guy's a mama's boy, obviously.
Yeah.
And he's a lunatic. Like he's got that creepy face he's got. As he's looking at Andor's image. He's like, I'm gonna get you, because he's got like that Dexter look in his face now.
I tell you, I loved. I forgot his name, but the young guy with the manifesto.
Oh my gosh, yes, he's
The-
gonna
the-
die. I think, and it's gonna kill me.
He was the young guy that fell asleep when on patrol.
Oh yeah, he's like the kid from Matrix.
Yes,
Mouse.
Mouse.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yes.
He was Mouse.
But it was just like he's like, look at these two things, the same thing, but like that speech. And again, people say keep politics out of Star Wars.
No.
It's been there from the
Politics is Star
beginning.
Wars.
This is
From the beginning.
universal.
But
How do
this
wars
thing where
start?
it's like,
Politics.
what he's sitting there saying is like, the more they tell you, you finally just believe it, and it's not true. Like you're watching this going.
And I want to get to all
so
that.
well done.
That was the meat of the sandwich.
That's my
was the
favorite
camp,
scene.
all of it. And we'll
Yeah.
talk about that in a second. But I do a couple other things with the mama's boy and all that stuff to like him, because he had it, and his mom even said,
You made the bad choices. You should have listened to Mustache Magoo.
right, and that was it. Mustache Magoo had this whole thing set.
Yeah.
I not be a part of this. I don't even have anything to do with this. Like that guy, that was great.
It was great. Mustache Magoo. He's like, I told this idiot to stay out of it. But the mother's like, okay, so that whole scene, and that's what I love about the show is that they're in that moment. They give you the previously on where he goes, the mother slaps him in the face, sits him down. He's eating cereal the whole time. He doesn't need to do anything except eat cereal and look creepy. And we got what's going on with it. We got it. And then the same thing with the female Imperial who knows the rebellion's coming. She knows it. And then I love this dynamic with her assistant.
Yeah.
Because the whole entire episode is a bunch of people going, no, you're doubting yourself, but do this. And then you don't have to, nobody's relying on themselves. And this is what we said, Mike, about the show. As long as they show that side of the Imperials too, it's going to make us feel. And I thought that scene with those two were great. Like her assistant.
And you're not getting good guys, white, bad guys, black. It's the gray that we're seeing in the middle there. Like this one kid with his mom, like he's becoming an Imperial officer. This is his rise to the Imperial.
He's going to be a bastard.
Yeah, he's going to be
the
awful, and he's going to
worst.
come back and like obliterate that entire town.
Yes.
But like we're seeing, And then the one guy that we got to get a name for him with the long kind of almost a mullet, and he's walking. He's like, well, you don't do this, and he's got 6 divisions, and you've got 1, but you're a good employee, you know. Like that guy, I love him.
Yeah. The main guy
of the Imperial. Like,
he's great.
Your reports
He's
not
from
doing
Game of
it.
Thrones.
Is he?
Yeah.
I loved him, and he's like playing both sides against each other. He's got 6 divisions, you've got 1, but you're a new star, and keep doing what you're doing. Yes, okay, there we go. Bye bye.
He was great, and it was
awesome,
pure and like the Imperial politics. But Steph. So the other thing that I thought was really interesting was when they had the mole inside, right? The Imperial mole, but it's not like this thing, okay, of course, that one's bad too, or that one's good too. We've seen that a million times. It was the fact they said, well, we have a mole inside, but the reason why is he fell in love with a woman. She's dead. He hates the Empire. He's helping us out. Great. We got that much. So now when you see him again, because the first time you see him, he's all pissed off about them smacking around trash cans and shooting cans and stuff. And he's like, oh, you're like, who's this guy? And he's working with them. So what do you think about that story angle?
I love the entire angle that everyone is a part of the rebellion for their own reasons.
Yes.
And no one is better than the other. And his backstory, the fact that he fell in love with this woman. I think he fell in love with the native land, and now he's like has to be sly about like these people just degrading native sites, and then the way that he manipulated them into working inside during the event. He's like, you guys want to eliminate these people, but you want to celebrate their event. This is not like it's just nuts, but it's so accurate.
Yeah, it happens a lot. So, so that angle and the fact of what he's going to be doing, and even showing like how the Imperials that are working for him are like, well, sir, we want to do this, we want to do that. There's another guy, great mustache at the end there too. And I told him, I think I called him Mustache and Lewis. I don't know why, but the two of them, they were like, okay, we want to do more. He's like, fine, you can do more. And that whole thing with that set up, but the meat of the sandwich is the camp with Andor and everybody because of everything that's built there. And the reason why it's so important is because if they just a lot of times what they do in not only Star Wars, but a lot of different shows, they set you up in the beginning of the episode and they go, okay, he's joining this camp, and by the end they're going to go on this mission. And you don't get enough of the in and outs and the character attachment. So if someone dies, you're like, who cares? Not this. We're already 2 episodes into him formulating these relationships, and he's sleeping, and the guy's going through his bags. What's the guy's name? Shoot.
He's from Bear.
It's Evan Moss. He was Micro in The Punisher.
This dude.
I don't know if it's his full name. But it's Evan Moss. He's a phenomenal actor.
Phenomenal actor. Yeah. And that moment that he's got with Andor, when he's showing him the tats, and he's like,
you know what this is?
He's like, you know what it is? Like, nobody else does. You know what it is? And then Andor's like, yeah, I was in the camps and I did this. It's like, is that where he became a separatist? Is that what happened there? Like, we don't know. But there's still these little building of these relationships. He's like, and I knew right there, these guys are going to be friends. He doesn't trust them.
No.
But eventually they're going to be friends. I think he's going to eat it, and I'm going to hate it.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope not. But yeah, I remember last week I was like, is he like the one who's going to turn because he's too emotional? And the truth is, no, he's just like,
cautious.
He's cautious. And they talk about trust a lot in this episode, and I love his angle. Watching them go back and forth with each other, it was like a masterclass. I'm like, these actors are so phenomenal.
It was so good, and I think that you really saw Andor step up in a leadership role like multiple times.
He's like, there's a difference between fear and losing your cool.
Right.
And that is
he goes,
so
of course I'm
true.
scared.
Yeah. He's like, I am scared. But I agree to your point completely about in other Star Wars shows, we might have been, Andor was dropped off in this camp in the next episode, or the next scene was the event happening. And you don't understand anything about the character. And after we finished this episode, I thought this is so refreshing that in a time where we're so focused on action and awe, they're like, no, let's like you fall in love with the story and the characters first.
We'll get to the boom boom. We'll get to it.
It's interesting you said that, like you said, this show's not for you. And I agree with that statement 100%, but I felt like...
I'm just saying it's not for you. No. What I'm saying to clarify that, if you are 5 episodes into it and you still think it's slow and nothing's happening, I don't think it's for you.
But I'm saying other people might be like I am, where after the first 2 episodes, I was kind of like, okay, something's got to happen here. This is okay, now I see why they put 3 together. But now that I know...
You know the structure,
I'm like, I'm on board.
Right.
Nothing's changing. Like, for me, the scene with them, the people talk, like, for me, when I look at the movie Civil War, the best scene in that movie is Tony and Steve talking, signing the thing with their pens. Sure. I don't care about the Big Bang. It's the 2 of them. So seeing Star Wars just being these people. When he comes into that one room, he was like, how you getting it off? You don't know?
That scene was
You don't know.
And he says it 5 times.
Because you got to go and you got to do this, and you got to do this. How are you going to get it off? We would have figured out, what have you? And then he walks away, he's like, yeah, I'm in. And they walk away, he's like, okay, yeah, we need this guy. Like, that scene.
They knew that they needed him, and then I love that whole that scene alone. There's like 5 different times, and he's like, "We got to switch. We got to put the left-handed guy over there."
Yeah,
and and that whole scene, and he's like, "Why don't you, before you start giving suggestions, why don't you just see if you can fall in line?" And even before that, when the guy puts his hands on him, he's like, "Don't touch me," and he's like, just if you and Andor said, and it's not one of these moments because again, you would have seen this beforehand. You would have been like, "Don't touch me, I'm tough." That's not what he was saying. He's like, if you want me to do something, tell me. Just don't put your hands on me. And I was like, what a great line. Just that line. It's just like, I'm here to do the thing.
Yeah.
Just don't F with me.
Yeah.
And then he does, and then he tells him, well, let's switch up. And then she's like, well, what's it? Right-handed, left-handed, right hand. Shoots with the right, but prefers the left. And you're like, he's observant. Yeah. He knows his thing. He knows, it's like, yes, you should trust him. And that's why I thought it worked really well. Instead of dragging it out of like, who is this guy? The Kyber crystal thing, when he put it to his throat, who is he? And then he's like, you know what? The hell with this. I'm just going to tell them. Yeah, I got paid to do the job.
Yeah.
What a great scene.
And I'm gonna do my job, and we're gonna get through this. And I want to survive this.
Right.
But I'm getting paid. You lost your brother. He lost his wife or his girlfriend. I'm getting paid. We got different motives. We got the same goal.
And he didn't know that about the guy at that point, though.
Right.
Which I even liked, because that scene.
Yeah.
That's the scene that bonded them together. Because what a great scene that was, Steph, when he goes, okay, listen, she wants me to tell you what happened to my brother. The Empire drove him into the ground, and he killed himself. But that's about the best apology you're going to get. And Andrew's like, it's really all I need.
Yeah.
The writing.
Yes. It's so good because it's like to the point where you just said it wasn't like, get off me, like super like toxic masculinity. It was like just two people talking who have had really hard lives and they get each other. They seemed like complete opposites, but they're actually very similar. They've had everything stripped away from them, but just in different forms.
And the other thing, Mike, that you brought up a couple of weeks ago that I said it as I was watching. I was like, Mike is absolutely right on this, is that how effective and what that is. And it's both sides. It's not just the Empire. The European accents. You know, whether it's the Scottish accents or, you know, I think there was an Italian accent, maybe it was a Brooklyn accent, but the English accents, like everything that's going on in there with those accents, it's so much more effective. Like, even if there was an alien that popped up and had one of those, it would be more effective than, hey.
And I noticed on the drive here,
with the Scottish accent.
On the drive here, I thought about this too. In last episode, so it's basically these two episodes, there's no aliens and there's no droids.
There was one walking around in the background.
Was there?
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, there's none that are part of the main plot
right
or side mission, or we got to go to this person. There's none.
Yeah, some people are pissed off about that.
Oh, really?
I can see why. It's a core of tenet of Star Wars.
Yeah,
I get it. But this is just, you know, it's funny because Gilroy, I remember there was articles he had said when he was talking about to his crew, like costumers, production, I was like, take everything you know about Star Wars, throw it out the window. Don't be beholden to it.
Right.
And then I know people lost their minds for all the artifacts in the last one.
It was great.
Yeah, great. But again, I think everyone involved in this Star Wars are just like, we're just telling the best story we can.
Remember, though, what I like about this show is that they do all that stuff you just mentioned, but they do it subtle. There's mentions to Jakku in this.
Oh, sure.
There's mentions
Mimban was in there. Like, I get it, but it's not
part. It's not, they don't beat you over the head with it.
And anyone that doesn't know all that could come in and watch us and not be completely like, what am I doing? Right. Where am I? What is going on? They're like, it's just a great story. Like, you could take this story and put it outside the Star Wars world and put it in another franchise, and it still works just as effective.
And if you're a Star Wars nut, there's things that you go, oh, like Hosnian Prime, by the way.
Yes.
Right? Hosnian Prime is essentially, after the second Death Star gets blown up, that's where the New Republic sets up.
That's what gets destroyed in the...
Right. And just the setup and them listening about the politics of how Hosnian Prime is at this moment in time is fascinating, and learning about all that stuff. That's why the politics and the inner working, I really hope, this is my fear, though. My fear is that, and I don't know what the ratings are for the show. I have no idea. I think that they're pretty good. I looked
it up. I think it's like 90%.
No, not as far as critics.
Talking about
like actual ratings, like how like people have been watching it. I assume it's been okay.
I heard. Yeah, I think She-Hulk's the top draw.
She-Hulk's been number one.
Dragon's right under it.
No, House of the Dragon is
not doing well.
No, it's crushed.
But I think it's under She-Hulk.
Is it?
Maybe I don't know.
Maybe because there might be more subscribers on Disney.
I think so.
Maybe so. But either way, they're all doing well. But I know that there's going to be people that are going to want to see that back and forth, because what I will say and what I agree with, I don't mind this. This show is less fun than other shows. It's less fun than Obi-Wan. It's less fun than Mandalorian. It's less fun than Boba Fett. There's no doubt about it. I just hope that they do a balance of shows like this. I hope that this isn't just a one-off. Let's Tony Gilroy do his thing, and then we'll go back to the Leia getting chased in the woods by Flea. Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm nervous about, because this tone would have worked better for Obi-Wan. I'll be honest. Like Boba Fett story-wise, I think the way it was shot was fine, and even then, some of the spy.
But now you talk. But think about it. We always said, Boba Fett gangster story. What if it was told in this tone?
Oh, dude, I'm telling you, it would have been.
I'm just saying. What if Gilroy did the Boba Fett Godfather story?
Or they, I mean, yes, yeah. It could have been more serious.
Hindsight is hindsight.
Hindsight's hindsight. But I mean, that's what I'm saying is I hope that when it calls for it, they don't, because this episode was 38 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah. Perfect length, I thought.
Well, I mean, but a lot of people think that's short, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's so much packed into it because they don't overdo action scenes. They don't overdo people won't watch it because they just want boom, boom, right? And that's what happens, and you lose story. And you lost a lot of story in Obi-Wan. You lost a lot of story in Boba Fett because of things like that. And they venture out, and they did that in this. And I hope that they don't get scared and don't do that in the future. I hope that I really hope that they continue to tell stories like this.
Well, there's got to be faith in the fact that they greenlit the second season before it even aired. Like
they care about, I'm talking about future things that are not Andor,
not Andor.
That Tony Gilroy is not in, that they approach on the next thing. Because like I say this, I think Deborah Chow is a phenomenal director. I think her episodes of Mandalorian are the best, the best. And I don't know if there was a bigger cheerleader of her than me when they announced it. I don't know if she was the right person for the job for Obi-Wan after watching what I watched. And I'm a massive fan of hers. I just don't know if maybe the responsibility right away, like, look, Bryce Dallas Howard is someone that I want to see do her own show, right? But the question is, after 2 or 3 episodes of a show and coming into Star Wars, are you ready for it? Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. There was a lot of things and a lot of choices that she made that some people love. I didn't.
Did you watch the
Not yet.
Okay, the special look of Obi-Wan? You kind of see it was a special case in the sense that Ewan McGregor was executive producing it as well. Okay. There was like a lot of cooks in the kitchen for that one. Yeah, and I think a lot of people had these notions of what story they wanted to tell, how they even view Obi-Wan, and were working together. And that, to me, when I finished it, it was like, oh, that wasn't all Deborah Chow at all. Like, and I don't know if that's the way that they shot this, but it felt like there was like a lot of people who came in with an idea, and
that's
she
a problem
kind of molded around it.
Well, that's a problem too. Then it's like, I think that when you look at the Gilroys, they seem to be in charge of this thing. Favreau and Filoni seem to be in charge of it. Maybe she was in charge, or maybe she wasn't. If she wasn't, well, then I'll take back what I'm saying there, and she should have been then.
Do you guys feel, and maybe now hearing this, of, Boba Fett, Mando, Obi-Wan are like the crown jewels of this Disney Plus, so they were the big shiny, and Andor was the kind of like, oh, you're going to make the show? Okay, good, go in England, film it.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like I talk about Wonder Woman and why that came out and it was just blew everyone away, because I think the heads of WB and DC were like, Batman, Superman, the big guns. Yeah. We're going to focus everything on this.
She didn't even have a contract.
A female director directing this actress that's never been, we'll let you do your movie over there and not really get our hands involved in it. And it comes out and it's this phenomenal movie. Like, do you think Andor, like, all right, Gilroy's a competent director, knows what he's doing. It's Andor, though. It's not as big as our you guys do. We're not going to mess with this. And you see that it's just like, you let the filmmaker make what they want to do, and you're just like, look at this.
So, that's I don't
know.
It's a case by case.
Sure.
Because the reason why I think there's a little bit of that, because of the property of Andor.
Yeah.
The difference is this, and this is what I 100% believe, and I think a lot of people believe this too. Tony Gilroy directed Rogue One. He directed Rogue One. Gareth, and I always bring up the point. Gareth Edwards did. I like Gareth Edwards. I've met Gareth Edwards. He's a sweetheart of a human being. If Gareth Edwards directed Rogue One, $1 billion movie, he wouldn't be in obscurity right now doing it. When was the last movie he did?
I couldn't tell you.
Wouldn't he be the guy that they got to do Andor? Why would Tony Gilroy be the guy? If it's a tie-off to Andor, if it's a tie-off to Rogue One. So it makes sense. It's Tony Gilroy. And Tony Gilroy wants to tell this story. This is a story he wanted to tell. He was invested in it. So I think that he was passionate enough about it, and he's a very, he's a great storyteller, that they said, okay, Tony Gilroy wants to do this, and he wants to do a Bourne Identity thing. This is great. It's going to cost us X amount of money to do. Great. I think it's an easier sell with Tony Gilroy wanting to do it. And then I don't want to shoot on the volume. I want to shoot on location. Okay, Tony Gilroy is allowed to make certain requests that other filmmakers probably couldn't.
Sure.
Right. So, but to go to your point of like, let the filmmaker do their thing. I think sometimes you get into a problem with that. And sometimes you get, look at whether it's a Ryan Johnson or it's a Taika Waititi for the last movie. So there's a problem.
I agree 100%. Yeah.
So it's case by case. Steph, what do you think about the whole situation?
Yeah, I think Tony Gilroy is the person who's done this. Like, it's the same style as Rogue One, but in show version. We're getting, which is even better, because some people's criticism of Rogue One is that although they liked the characters, they felt like there were so many, they didn't know them as well.
Right.
I didn't feel that, but I could see this being like the answer to those sort of problems.
This is going to make Rogue One significantly better when you watch it.
Yeah.
Again.
Definitely.
I don't need it.
Steph,
Also, we haven't talked about Mon Mothma.
Oh God, we have to.
Yes.
We didn't get a lot of her, but still excellent. But we did get a lot
of her.
more than we've ever gotten of her. We've only seen her in this control area, and I'm like, you have a brat daughter? What's the tea, sis? And your husband's not even standing up for you? Like, the husband's such a POS. He's just, like, letting the daughter drill into her. But it does seem like she got offended in a way that there might be some truth to it. Like, I'm not saying Mon Mothma is probably not a perfect character. She's probably been very
flawed.
Yeah. So I'm curious what that is, what the daughter's really talking about.
Well, she's invested in the rebellion.
Yeah.
She's invested in really putting everything she has. Like what we've seen in Mon Mothma over the course of since Return of the Jedi, right? We've seen Mon Mothma. We've seen the leader of the rebellion. What was her family? What was it like behind the doors? We find out she had a husband. We find out she has a daughter. We find out that she sacrificed them to make this happen. We find out all I said was, I want that dude's jacket when I'm shopping at the supermarket.
He's so suave. He's like a white samurai. I'm like,
they live it, and they're in the Coruscant looks beautiful, by the way, in this episode. And
her
a limo.
car?
Oh, that car was awesome.
The car was so well done. Like, not for a second you're like, that looks fake. I was like, where do I get that? It's like the Bentley of space.
It was 100% the Bentley of
It's
space
so
cars.
cool.
Absolutely. There was so much in this episode. There was like, and in 37 minutes, that's my point.
Yeah.
Packed in 37 minutes. When you look at it, you said it was like perfect. It was a perfect length.
I thought it worked great.
And they put so much into it. And the TIE fighter scene. The TIE fighter scene, that to me was so great. That's the TIE fighter scream is my favorite sound in Star Wars.
So good.
So when it zips in and it flies over them, and that he's basically doing the Tom Cruise, the guy from Top Gun. He's doing a flyby. He's doing a flyby and just messing with them.
Screw these farmers.
100%. He's like, watch this, and just right by, and like Andor's flipping out of the way.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
And then he's like, it's way better to have an ambush overhead than on the ground.
Yep.
I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess that makes sense with Mon Mothma. Like, so that really is it. The family doesn't know she's a part of the rebellion, so they're like, where is she all the time?
Right.
She's absent because
she's
she's
a
invested.
politician.
Yeah.
But I also think she's going to sacrifice the family for the
Easily.
rebellion, like knowing that the good of the many
With
is better
that
than
attitude, I would too.
She's
Bye,
like,
daughter.
or he's taking her to the Empire, the daughter. Like, okay, it sucks. Like, I saw one of these websites this morning. He's like, the article holds it's like, what happens to Mon Mothma's family after Andor? It's like, maybe that's the story of the next 4 or 5 episodes, pal. That we're gonna find out what happens and why we don't see them again.
And even if you don't,
who gives it?
is she taking them to the meetings and Return of the Jedi?
It's just like everyone.
Such a
Like sometimes
woman
these people are like, I see this a lot in She-Hulk. They're like, we need more from the best friend. I was like, no. Sometimes the supporting characters are there to enrich the main character. That's all. We don't need full stories for them. We don't need to know what happens.
Though
to them.
I do love her best friend.
Yeah, she's
the
great.
paralegal.
And serves the purpose of the story.
Yeah.
So
The husband and I love it. It's like, what's your driver's name again? What's our driver's name again? Clovis.
At least he asked this time and didn't just call him the driver.
did he call him driver last time?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this is a show. Someone to where I disagree with. I saw in the comment section where someone's like, this isn't a show that I could rewatch again. I couldn't disagree more.
I rewatched the first
Did you?
3.
See,
yeah.
I haven't yet, and I can't wait.
Yeah.
To, because I think what I want to do is I want to rewatch them as a big full movie for like the whole
Oh,
season.
that's a
I'll
smart
spend
idea.
a couple days.
Yeah, like for me,
That's smart.
I always pop in random episodes of Mando just for the heck
Right,
of it.
right.
Just because. Like this, I would watch all in like 2 sittings or 1 sitting again.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a great point, Mike. You bring up Mando because Mando is still my favorite. Like Mando's still my favorite.
just has that-
I think that Andor's better written,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but Mando's still my favorite. And I think that Mando, but this is the thing that I hope. I hope that you can, if you're going to do two tones in Star Wars, I hope you do Mando tone, and I hope you do Andor tone. That's it.
Because there is the humor and the fun that people love is in Mando.
Absolutely,
it's the Saturday morning cartoon.
But you can still get
Star
vicious,
Wars.
and like that episode in Boba Fett, which is a Mando episode, but when he's taking out the butchers in that butcher shop.
Good.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff you can do inside of a tone. They're like, whoa, that's brutal. Then you could do cute stuff with Grogu and the humor that works really well with like IG-11 and those types of things. That's where the Star Wars stuff works out really well. It's when they start trying to mix things up and again, following the philosophy of what Favreau said. And it's paying homage to the stuff that inspired Star Wars and not trying to pay an homage to Star Wars, right? Because that's what Tony Gilroy is not paying an homage to Star Wars at all. He's not even necessarily paying an homage to all the stuff that inspired as much as he's paying homage to spy thrillers and good television is what he's trying to do. And I think like that formula works for this right now.
Yeah, it's good television. Mandalorian and Andor are the only Star Wars shows that should be nominated for awards.
Yeah.
It's like the difference between like say the Wire and NYPD Blue.
Yeah.
Like both cop shows, just the Wire
Layers.
There's
so
something about the
different,
show.
yeah.
Like it's just
It's layered. It's layered, and you care. And
hits.
it's also like Andor, the character of Andor and Diego Luna, as you mentioned beforehand. You know, some of the biggest criticisms was that you didn't have enough time. And this is my biggest criticism with movies as compared to television. Mm-hmm. You don't have enough time in 2.5 hours because in movies, you have to go after the big. Especially if you want people to spend money on the tickets. There has to be those big set pieces. Scarif has to be as big as it was, and it's got to be big. So there's only so much time you have to develop in a 2 hour and 15-minute movie or whatever it was. So you only have so much time. And this is why I always thought TV was just better suited for Star Wars, because you have this time to spend time with Mon Mothma. You have time to do all this stuff, and that's why when you don't use that time, it's like, why did you do that? Why did you as opposed to they're using every second to build everyone, even if it's that scene. When the Imperial brings the guy in and goes, I'm not asking you about all this stuff. Can you make this your headquarters? That's all I want to know. Can you? He's like, well, can I do that? I don't care if you prance around and do that. I learned so much about those two guys in that one conversation. And it's like moments like that and spending the time there and just milking it.
I got to go back on a statement that I said in one of our earlier shows, and just because I read it somewhere and it hit me for the first couple. Someone said Tony Gilroy doesn't know how to write for television.
You said that.
But because I read it.
Oh.
There was a whole article on it, and they were like making points for it. And it had before they had watched the first 4, and that was the review. Was like, somebody needs to teach Tony Gilroy how to. And I'm watching this. I'm like, oh no, he knows exactly what he's doing. 100% knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And the style. So I take that back for, backing that article and agreeing with that point.
Yeah, well, look,
first couple episodes.
It's because of, and we saw it at Celebration. They told us they were doing this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and and it works. It works really well, and it's not like 3 separate things. They all tie into the episodes previously, but it's this angle of build, boom, build, boom, and that's what they're doing right now with this. Like, how excited are you for the next episode because of this episode?
Yeah, no, it's such a great build up because now I understand what's happening in a deeper way than just being like, oh yeah, we're on this planet, giving no like homage to the people that came before, what kind of planet it is, what in the event that they're doing. It's just really well thought out.
How many episodes is the season? 9 or 12?
12.
Okay, perfect. So this could be this halfway point.
It's halfway.
But also, I've noticed during this last episode, because I watched them back to back, the ending came and I was like, wait, what? Like, it wasn't like, all right, we're going to be wrapping up soon. Like, it didn't feel like, all right, we're getting to the cliffhanger of this episode. No, it's just like, oh, it's over.
Especially when you go back,
it's
though.
Weird. It's such a great.
It is,
it's
but when
such
you
a
go
great
back
thing.
to it, and you realize the structure of it, right? It's like
now,
okay, yes, because exactly when you're watching it, I felt the same way. You're like, oh, it's over. But then when you go back and you look at that moment of build, the team's getting ready, they're finally on the same page, they're done, they're going in, and then you go to the guy who's orchestrated all this, and he's sitting there going, oh, I gotta make an omelet, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do this, and she's like, go to sleep.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can do. You can't do anything. The audience can't do anything because it's not time yet, but next week it will be. Yeah. And you're like, oh, that's so smart. You're like, we can't do anything. He can't do anything. So just deal with it. Enjoy what you just got. Enjoy what you have. And then hope for the best going in next week. I loved it. It was so smart.
No goodbyes.
No, nothing at all. So, I mean, look, man, I'm loving the show. I'm so curious, and I would do it again just to reiterate what I was saying before. It's not one of these things where it's like, "Hey, dummy, you don't like the show, don't watch it." That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is that if you're this deep into it and you don't feel that anything is happening, I just don't understand why you'd keep watching, because I just feel that there's tons of stuff happening so far. If you're paying attention, you enjoy this format. If you don't enjoy this format, I just don't know if this is the show for you.
Hey, no, another thing you just said with that made me realize, like, there's some shows I watch, I'm like, oh, we're 5 episodes in, and they got to get going here with the main. They only got 4 more episodes left.
Right.
Where's this show going? I don't feel this.
At
and
all.
we're not even halfway done. I'm just like, oh, I don't know what the big picture is for episode 12. We just knew this mission up to this point. We don't know what's going on after that.
No, because we're establishing, and as we
I
establish
know.
more and more,
No,
you're
right.
right.
And the fact that we're going to get a whole other season of all this building up to the final, like the minute we meet Cassian at Rogue One, I'm like, I don't care.
People are going to lose their minds when K2S shows.
I can't wait.
Lose their
That's season
minds.
2, right?
Yeah.
But
Of
maybe
course.
in the last episode.
Lose their minds. Maybe the last episode 1, but
But I
that's a big
hope
reveal.
it keeps the same tone. It doesn't.
Why would it? Why would it?
I know,
switch
I
if
know.
he's
It's
there?
like his first
I know.
droid in the first few episodes, Wally.
Yeah.
He was
Wall-
funny.
Pissbot.
Yeah, Pissbot. Exactly. Formerly known as
Yes.
Pissbot.
And again, I'm 100% like, yeah, this was the show that I when it was announced, I was like, I'm going to be into that. And then as more and more hype, I was like, you guys switch, and I was like, I don't really feel it. And now I'm back. Like, I love that.
My big thing from
I love that,
even
man.
when they announced it back in the day, I remember when it was announced as one of the shows, and my thing was, I think it could be interesting if they focus on the inner workings of the Empire, if they work on these, and that's exactly what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you think so? You're not caught up in Rebels yet, right?
No.
Do you think that we get Callus this season or at all?
I think we will, but not this season.
Cal Callis, from the guy from the game?
Not
No,
Cal
that's Cal
Kestis.
Kestis.
Okay, here we go.
Callus,
Gulp shit
Callus
here
was
we go.
Callus was actually voiced.
Troll him,
Yeah.
loser.
Callus was voiced by David Oyelowo.
Okay.
And was a great character, a lot of arc, and that's something I'm very curious. Him, another one. Are we going to see Ben Mendelsohn?
I think so.
We have to.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought. Well,
I think
Krennic,
so.
didn't we think like he's gonna be in there somewhere?
Yeah,
and
and
he
well, that's-
just fits with these
But this-
mustache magoos
Yes.
and all these guys.
But you know what's?
Totally.
But this is what this is also the fact that it's 6 episodes in and you didn't need to see him yet. Because they're
No,
establishing
you
everyone
don't
else, and
need
you're not
any
like,
of that.
well, we need this person in there. They're not going to be. They're not going to. And kudos. And this is the thing too. Kudos to Kathleen Kennedy for not pushing it. The fact that,
Yeah.
well, we need. Because you can see they've
Palpatine
done that
and
before.
Tarkin and-
Throw in some people that they recognize. Tony, you got to do that. You got to do that. And they didn't. And maybe she did. And they said, no, we're not going to do that. Who knows? But they're not there. You didn't need them because when you finally get them, it's going to be that much more effective.
I mean, it just to that point. There, you know, one of the execs was pushing. He's like, "Can we do a scene with Vader? Just what's going on with the Empire? Maybe with Tarkin." And Geller's like, "Absolutely not. I
No.
ain't
Yeah.
in there." And I don't even think of Vader watching the show. Like he's out there somewhere doing his thing. Peter Cushing, the Tarkin's out there. They're out there. They're in this world. We just don't need them. We don't need a cut to Mustafar.
Vader, why are you not
Palpatine, we don't need them.
I
Let them
wanted
do their
to-
thing wherever they are. Oh, that one line.
What do you
The
got?
one line where
do
they
you
sit
got?
there and he goes, yeah, and there's a requisition to Scarif for materials.
Yeah.
Holy
In
crap.
episode 4.
It was
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
I'm sorry if I missed that, but
Yeah.
man, like not beating you over the head. It was just a throwaway line.
Yeah.
But man,
That's
you know
what- that's
exactly what
I was
that
saying.
is.
Yeah, like those
You know
little-
exactly what
those
that is.
little things they put in those
Oh.
things that as you said, if
Yeah.
you missed it, doesn't ruin your show. It doesn't ruin the show.
doesn't even-
but if you catch it,
Yeah.
it elevates.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's it.
Absolutely.
All right,
Yeah.
listen.
Sorry about
this was
that.
a show. We had a show. We had a good show. I'm excited that you guys joined us. What are you thinking of Andor? Are you liking it? Not liking it? Go ahead and comment. Tell me exactly what you think. What do you think about any of this stuff that we talked about? Whether Kristian Bale, James Earl Jones, any of the stories that we talked about? Please let us know. I do have the reaction to the episode. I don't know if it could be up. Nerd Chronic is working on it. I don't know if it's up yet. It might be. It'll be up soon. My watch along or reaction to the Monsters is up, so please support us and watch that thing. And then spoiler reviews and those other things. We had a lot of stuff coming out. So thank you for joining us. Once again, if you haven't joined us on podcasts, all those great sponsors that we have is because you guys have been downloading the episodes, so please continue to do that. Spotify, anywhere that they are found. Make sure that you check out Patreon. That is patreon.com/thebigthingshow. We would love your support if you feel there is something there that you would like. So please go and check that out. That's it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Mike. Thank you to Steph. And we will see you guys on the flip side. It's Sith Council. Peace.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus, makes you stronger.